50,000, but you'll remember in 2017 there were 500,000 people in Washington, D.C. alone. Now, today's march includes a dozen organizations, groups that are here for abortion rights, people that are here for LGBTQ rights.
The inauguration is not the only big event for President-elect Trump next week. Here's Fox's Alexandria Hoff.
President-elect hosted New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He also had a call with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The president-elect stated on that call, in part, we discussed balancing trade, fentanyl, TikTok, and many other subjects. President Xi and I will do everything possible to make the world more peaceful and safe. And as you were talking about, the administration, domestic safety, that comes with the immediate immigration action that they have been talking about. Incoming border czar Tom Homan confirming to Fox News that immigration raids will begin in several cities the day after the president-elect is sworn in, so that being Tuesday. Chicago was one example given, but consider there are 25 field offices. The focus will be on individuals who are public safety threats.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has indicated that Chicago will not cooperate. President-elect Trump naming Penny Schwinn as United States Deputy Secretary of Education, making the announcement today on Truth Social. She's a former teacher. He says she's committing to delivering the American dream to the next generation of returning education to the states. America's listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
A ceasefire between
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They finally got him. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending this hour. Brandon Ramirez broke into a business on West Raymond Street in September of 2023. He eventually stabbed a police canine before being shot by an IMPD officer, but he still did not surrender right away.
Danger, danger, danger!
You're hearing him being tased in a video released by IMPD. The canine returned to work in late October of 2023, and Ramirez was sentenced in August of 2024. Indy Metro Police are investigating after a crash likely killed one person early Saturday morning. Officers say a woman was driving a green Kia when it went off of Todd Road and hit a tree around 2:40 a.m. Unfortunately, the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. It is not yet clear what led to the crash. You may have seen notifications from the National Weather Service about an extreme cold watch. This is a new term being used by the organization.
So in the past, we would issue the wind chill warnings or the wind chill advisories. We didn't want to separate out the cold temperatures from the cold wind chills. Either way, it's cold.
Randy Bowers, meteorologist with the National Weather Service Indianapolis, encourages you to prepare for the cold and wear layers in order to stay safe. And with expected frigid temperatures and wind chills over the next few days, you may need a place to stay warm. The Washington Park Family Center will be open as an overnight warming space from Sunday evening to Wednesday evening. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Temperatures will be falling. Tonight, cloudy skies, low temperatures in the teens, and for tomorrow, spotty to scattered flurries, high temperatures in the lower 20s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars January 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar at 8. And January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
If you need health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Terrence and Jody when they got married, and Sophia when she had a baby, and Gary when he moved and needed new insurance. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment. And this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. Always happy to have you with us. It's an exciting time to be a Second Amendment advocate, proponent, someone who exercises their Second Amendment rights. There's a lot that's going to happen here sooner than later that has the potential to influence our ability, our right to exercise our Second Amendment rights. That's in part because, obviously, President-elect Donald Trump is going to become president here in just a few days. And that's going to bring about some big changes. I think the primary change it's going to bring about, and this won't happen immediately, but over time, certainly over 4 years, we're going to see a major difference in how the ATF at the federal level regulates firearms. In fact, I just saw that this was partly in reaction to a court decision, but the ATF is dropping, and here's this hilarious, here the Friday before President Trump gets sworn in, ATF came out and said, you know, we're dropping our zero tolerance policy that we enacted under Biden, where the most minor of mistakes and even good faith errors on bookkeeping done by a gun store, what we call an FFL, a federal firearms licensee, that's enough for us to revoke their license. We're dropping the zero tolerance policy. And this is in part due to a lawsuit brought by Michael Cargill, if you recognize that name. He's the gentleman who took the bump stock case all the way to the Supreme Court. He actually owns a gun shop in Texas. Took the bump stock ban all the way to the Supreme Court, got that reversed. Well, the same guy filed a lawsuit that essentially resulted in the ATF throwing its hands up saying, we quit, and we're dropping this zero tolerance policy. And listen, I've talked about this before, about how the ATF has really become a rogue agency, and there's no greater example than what they were doing to legitimate businesses. I mean, gun shops, people with federal firearms licenses who are doing the very best they can to stay on the right side of the law. And for years and years, for generations, ATF, particularly what they call their industry operations branch, these folks, they were told their job was to go in and work with gun shops, work with licensees, and help them stay on the right side of the law. And that's what they did for years. And if somebody had a minor glitch in their paperwork or whatever it was, the ATF helped them correct that and helped them learn how to improve their processes and their record keeping and realizing everybody is trying to do the same thing, which is comply with the law in all respects. And listen, have there ever been gun shops out there who are intentionally violating the law, that are selling guns under the table, that are, ignoring straw purchases, who are otherwise violating the law? Sure, I'm sure that's happened, but it's been incredibly rare. And where that happens, those people need to be arrested. They need to lose their licenses, and if it's severe enough, they need to go to prison. I'm okay with that. But ATF here recently, under Biden in particular, had adopted this policy of, we will tag you off base for any of the most minor discrepancies, the minor errors in your bookkeeping, and we will revoke your license, we'll put you out of business. And it was the Biden administration's plan all along to put gun shops out of business, because they have this ridiculous notion that if they put enough retailers out of business, that somehow that'll cut down on the number of firearms being sold. Well, no. The people are going to, people that want to buy firearms and people want to do it legally are going to go find a retail outlet that's available to them. They're going to buy their firearms. And criminals, this is the point that for some reason they're oblivious to, criminals that want to obtain firearms have a lot of mechanism, a lot of availability, a lot of options when it comes to go out and obtaining firearms. They can find somebody in a back alley. They can find a fellow gang member, a fellow criminal. They can find firearms illegally. And so putting the mom and pop gun shop on the corner out of business because you catch them with some minor bookkeeping error was completely ridiculous. It was political. It was, in my mind, motivated purely by animosity toward the Second Amendment. That's going away. That's going away even here days, a bare weekend before President Trump gets sworn in. And I think ATF, not only did they get their butts kicked in the litigation brought by Michael Cargill in Texas, and they saw the handwriting on the wall from that litigation, but they also saw President Trump coming into office here this next week and saying, we're not going to be able to survive as a staffers trying to operate under that kind of a protocol. We're not going to survive politically in that environment, and that's why they've changed. That's a big deal. It's a big deal for my friends, and I have a lot of them who own gun shops. But really, we have a lot more. And listen, all last week I talked about the National Constitutional Reciprocity Act, national reciprocity, where we have the possibility here this next Congress of getting reciprocity. That is, all states recognizing every other state's license. It's still got some hurdles. You got to get 60 votes in the Senate. That's no small feat. And I spent a lot of time on last week's show talking about that. Won't go down that road again. But we've also seen a lot of movement and positive movement right here in the state of Indiana at the very beginning of this new legislative session that we have going on in the Indiana General Assembly. And we now have a whole host of bills. And listen, as there always are, there are bills introduced in the Indiana General Assembly every single year, a whole bunch of them that support the Second Amendment, that support your constitutional rights, and a whole bunch of them that try to infringe your constitutional rights. But we now have bill numbers, we now have names, we now have legislators that have attached their names to these bills, and there are some really outstanding bills. There are really some solid bills. Some are already scheduled for hearings. And here we're going to take a break here in just a minute, but when we do, or when we come back from that, I want to talk about the process a little bit. And if you listen to the Gun Guy show, you're probably very familiar with the process of how a bill advances and potentially gets passed in the Indiana General Assembly. And we've talked about that a lot here on the show over the years, whether it's constitutional carry or the self-defense immunity bill, or church carry, or any number of the bills we've fought for, we've won on, and gotten passed in the Indiana General Assembly. As Pro 2A advocates, it's stuff I've been right square in the middle of for a long, long time. A lot of times people lose sight of the process a little bit, and it's necessary to understand that process to know where you might be able to get involved, you might be able to help, you might be able to actually help promote and protect and advance Second Amendment rights right here in Indiana. We'll talk about that more when we come back. And as always, I want to take your calls. You got questions or comments. You've seen bills that have been filed in the General Assembly. You've got bills you'd like to see. It's too late now to file a new bill, but there are amendments that are still available to existing bills. Give us a call. Join the discussion. 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
Trump said that people of Greenland are MAGA and will benefit tremendously as part of the United States.
This is not happening, right? Nobody thinks Denmark is going to sell Greenland. We don't have any money to buy things anyway. The estimated price I saw of Greenland was between $1.5 and $2 trillion. We have no money. What would we buy that with?
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIPC and WIPC.com.
Guy Relford for RockOp Defense Solutions. These are manufacturers and sellers of some of the most high-end AR-15 platform rifles you're ever going to see available anywhere in the country, and they're located right here in central Indiana, located in Avon. They've got a shop right there in conjunction with Fort Liberty Firearms in Avon, and these are some of the most high-end AR-15 platform fighting rifles you're ever going to find. I know I own a Rod 15, and it's my go-to fighting rifle. I love this rifle. I take it to the range every chance I get. It's incredibly accurate. It's fun to shoot, and it's exactly the gun I'm going to grab if necessity ever requires it. I really commend these folks to you, and I'm a big fan of their operations. Check them out at rock-opdefense.com. That's rock-opdefense.com. They've got upgrade services. You've already got an AR platform rifle. You want to make it a better rifle, they'll help you out with that. You want a new trigger, you want to make it an SBR, short-barreled rifle, they'll help you with that process. You want it Cerakoted, that is, you want a new finish on your rifle, they'll help you out with that. And most of all, what I really definitely recommend to you is to go there and purchase one of their very high-end, awesome fighting rifles right there at rock-opdefense.com. Check them out at rock-opdefense.com.
Recent talk about rising interest rates and economic uncertainty may have you wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will I get the price I need? Will it take too long? The good news, you don't have to figure this out by yourself. There is a friendly, no-pressure, experienced agent who eats and sleeps Indianapolis real estate. Call my agent, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want a guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel's the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Katie and Chris in Perry Township said this: sadly, our marriage was ending and we were both ready to sell the home and move forward ASAP. Mark Dietel made it happen fast and easy. Our home sold for more than we anticipated in 24 hours with 17 showings and multiple offers. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indy can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the ARTIS Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-522-2995 for a free evaluation. Great technology, great company, great people, great results. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com, see my results, and call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Don't you want to say, I got my hair back?
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
We have the best technicians in the business here at Family. They'll take care of you every time. 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So let's talk about what's going on in the Indiana General Assembly that has the potential to affect your Second Amendment rights. And listen, this is something I've been involved in for a long time. I've been involved in for a long time, and it's something I'm passionate about. And listen, I've written a lot of bills that have gotten passed into law, and I'm really proud of that. And I like being in the middle of that process. And a lot of times, people get confused about that. They think, oh, well, you've just been able to write bills, or you've gotten things done in the General Assembly because you have a radio show. No. It's the other way around. I was involved in this, just contacting legislators, expressing my views, getting a hold of people directly, calling them, emailing them, saying, here's the kind of thing I think ought to happen. And I got involved in the legislative process just as a private citizen. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have a bigger voice than anybody else did. And it was only after I got involved in the process, as well as because of the nature of my legal practice, that is being Second Amendment related, that ultimately I got asked to give interviews on WIBC, and I still give a lot of interviews on other media outlets around, just talking about Second Amendment issues, because that's what I do for a living. That's what I'm passionate about. And that led to WIBC offering me a radio show, but I never had a platform before I got involved in the legislative process. And I hear people make excuses all the time. I'll say, man, we'd love to have you involved. Want you to come down, testify. Well, nobody's going to listen to me. Well, of course, you're a voter. You're a citizen. And your voice matters. It absolutely does. It's democracy at work. And that may sound like I'm on a soapbox, but it's absolutely fundamentally true. And when people get involved and people show up and people come to hearings, when people email their legislator, they email chairman of committees saying, give this bill a vote, give this a committee hearing, let it go forward, let it get a vote on the floor of the House or the Senate or both. It makes a difference. It really does. And let me tell you, the anti-Second Amendment people got this figured out way before we did, or at least they got the participation way before we did. Because for years and years, and if you're a longtime listener to the Gun Guy Show, you've heard me say this before. I would go down there. I fought for constitutional carry, permitless carry. I fought for 10 years, and I'm in there with Jim Lucas and Ben Smaltz and Peggy Mayfield and Jerry Torr and Aaron Freeman in the Senate, and a whole bunch of good folks who believed in this and tried to get it done. But we'd have committee hearings, and a committee hearing is the first step. You got to get a hearing, and we come to these committee hearings, and it would be me and the local NRA guy. That is the person from NRA who's responsible for Indiana legislative affairs, and we've had some really good people from NRA. I'll devote a whole segment sometime talking about NRA. Look. Does the NRA at the national level have some issues? Yeah, they're getting better. They finally got Wayne LaPierre, which was a huge advancement, a huge benefit. But they're local people, the people that show up and help us locally right here on the ground in Indiana. They've been great for a long time. Dr. Chris Kopacki, John Weber, who we just had until last year, and I just met the new gentleman from NRA who looks as solid as you could be as well. And I'm sure I'll have him on the show here going forward. But it would be me, the local NRA guy, often people from, or somebody from the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association, and that's it. And then it'd be a whole room behind us, a whole room full of mostly ladies in red T-shirts that say "Moms Demand Action" on them. And they would cheer and clap or boo and hiss, and they could absolutely control the dynamic in the room. And it was frustrating as hell because there's more of us than there are of them. But they motivated people. They mobilized people, and they got them to show up at the State House. That's one of the biggest reasons I formed the Two-Way Project. I was really tired of being the very small minority in the room, because I know we're not the minority when it comes to how people feel about Second Amendment rights, but we were the minority in terms of people who showed up and participated. And I'll tell you what, gun owners, listen, I fight for our Second Amendment rights. I've been doing it for a really long time. I'm going to do it for a lot longer, even as old as I currently am. But you know what? There are some fundamental truths about gun owners, and I don't know if it's all across the country or it's just right here in Indiana, but we tend to be whiners. We tend to be people who go out on social media and we whine and complain about laws we don't like, or laws we think we should change, or what the legislature's doing or not doing. And we'll spend a substantial amount of time on social media complaining, criticizing, but we don't do a very good job of getting off our asses and showing up when we can make a difference at the State House. Now that's changing, and I'd like to say the Two-Way Project, it's been around since 2020, has had a big role in that. But people want to say, oh, this law ought to be repealed and this law ought to be passed. And well, get involved. Nobody cares what you post on social media. It may feel good for you to voice your opinion. Lord knows I voice my opinions on social media. But when I do it, I typically am trying to rally support, and I'm trying to get people to get involved. And listen, when it comes to the ballot box, we're pretty good. Gun owners don't vote as a block nearly as well as we should. You look at the numbers. You know, Indiana has the highest percentage of the adult population with a license to carry handgun, or in other states where they call it a concealed carry weapon permit, or whatever the hell you want to call it, a handgun license. Indiana has the largest percentage of the adult population with a handgun license of any state in the country. Now, a lot of states have constitutional carry where you don't need a license, so you have to factor that in. But I'm still pretty damn proud of the fact we have the highest percentage of adult population with a handgun license of any state, yet we don't do a good enough job of voicing our opinions, of getting involved, of showing up at the State House, of sending that email, of making that call. We're pretty good at bitching and complaining on the internet. And I've done my fair share of the same. I don't want to be hypocritical on that point. But it can't end there. And you know what? You go out on social media and say, this law is unconstitutional. Well, you know what that means? Do you know what it means when you post that your opinion that some law is unconstitutional on social media? Do you know what that means? It means exactly zip. It means nothing. It means exactly zero. Because guess what? And I've got a harsh reality for people out there just like to complain on the internet. Until a court agrees with you. Because if the law's on the books and it's being enforced, and people are going to jail, or people having their guns seized, or whatever the issue might be relative to that law, let's say it's a criminal statute and you think that law is unconstitutional. Guess what? People, until a court says it's unconstitutional, a court, because, hey, I've litigated whether our red flag law is constitutional. I'm the only lawyer in the state who's gone to the Indiana Court of Appeals and said, this law is unconstitutional. And in a 2-1 decision, they disagreed with me. And do I think they were wrong? Yes. Do I think I should have won that case? Yes. At the same time, talk about red flag laws a minute. 21 states and the District of Columbia all have red flag laws, and not one of them has been found by a court to be unconstitutional. Now, you may think they're unconstitutional. I may think they're unconstitutional. I may have argued with conviction at the Indiana Court of Appeals that our statute was unconstitutional. But once that court disagrees with me, that means exactly zip. It means exactly nothing. And a little bit of reality has to get brought to this, because it's easy to bitch and complain on the internet. It's a little harder to get off your butt, get in your car, and come down to the State House and help us get things done where they need to get done, which is at the State House. And listen, people have jobs, people have kids, people have other obligations. I get it. I've been through all that. My kids are older now. Still have a full-time job, and I'm self-employed. But I've been going down to the damn State House for a long time. But people can still send emails. People can still pick up the phone and call. That same amount of time people spend typing out red flag laws are unconstitutional. Okay, all right, I get it. I made that argument to the Court of Appeals, and I still say I'm right. The court disagreed with me. But how about picking up the phone and calling your legislator, or getting on? But rather, you're on your keypad already, rather than typing that out on Facebook or Twitter, X, whatever we want to call it. How about typing it out on an email to your legislator saying, here's a law I'd want to see passed. Here's a pending bill that I want to see passed. I support this. And how you vote on this is going to influence whether I vote for you in the next election or the next primary. How about send an email to a chairman of a committee and say, you know what, if you don't give this bill a hearing, I'm going to be very vocal in opposing you in your next primary or your next general election, whatever it might be. That same amount of energy can be so much more constructive and productive if people channel it in the right direction. And if you take this as a criticism, because you're out there complaining about what laws you don't like on the internet, hey, I'm as much a proponent of the First Amendment as I am the Second. And voice your opinion. God bless you. I'm not saying don't. But channel some of that same energy into a way that's more productive and constructive and can actually get stuff done. And here after this break, I'm going to talk about bills that have gotten a hearing scheduled. We'll talk a little bit about the process, as I mentioned before, but then talk about an opportunity to show up and make your voice heard, to have an impact, to see the laws change in a way that supports and advances our Second Amendment rights. That's a big deal. That's democracy at work. I don't care if that sounds trivial to you. I don't care if that sounds like I'm on a soapbox. Don't care a bit. Because that's how it works. I've seen it happen for too long and too many times, where citizens make a difference just because they care and because they show up. Showing up is what makes democracy work. I'm telling you that right now. At the bottom of the hour, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
No matter where you head on your commute, Matt Bear is there. Paris.
Les Champs-Élysées sont un véritable parking ce matin.
Warsaw.
W drodze do pracy, wyjdź trochę wcześniej.
Or Brazil.
Temos bisbilhotice no Rio de Janeiro. Não haja como turista.
Matt, these are all cities in Indiana.
Oh, that makes my job easier.
Making your commute easier. Matt Bear Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The Christmas holiday is done. You got some great gifts, and you might find that you've got some old jewelry you're not going to be needing anymore with all that new jewelry you got. Take that old jewelry to PA Jewelers. Check check out the buy room and find out how much you can get for that vintage jewelry and those gemstones. Talk to PA Jewelers today. They're more than a kiss. Inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030. 317-858-3030. Online at premierarms.com.
It's Hammer and Nigel from Window Nation. Heating costs are getting out of control, and your best bet is to replace your cold, drafty windows with energy-efficient ones from Window Nation. Act now, and you'll save big with 50% off all window styles, plus you could get zero interest with zero payments for 2 years.
With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust Window Nation. Hurry, this big sale ends January 31st, so schedule your free in-home consultation right now. 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air. Nobody cares for you like family. Your American Standard Air dealer.
Fox News, I'm Jane Fergus. The People's March in Washington, D.C., attracting thousands who are protesting the incoming administration.
It's a nice reminder that even though we didn't have the numbers in November, that we're not alone, and we shouldn't give up and just kind of roll on our backs. And, in 2 years, we can make some more change.
The Trump team is preparing for his inauguration on Monday. The ceasefire between Hamas and Israel is official after Israel's cabinet approved the deal.
Palestinians around the world celebrate as the hostage for prisoner exchange is lopsided. The first phase calls for about 1,000 Palestinians to be released from Israeli jails, while 33 Israeli hostages are free.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin reporting from Tel Aviv, Israel. There will be 3 phases for this plan. America's listening to Fox News.
2025, new year, maybe a new home? If you're ready to get started building your dream home, take a look at what Joiner Homes can do for you. Joiner Homes will be at the Indianapolis Home Show from January 17th through the 26th in booth number 459. This is a great opportunity for you to learn more about their streamlined custom home building process and meet the team members who will work directly with you throughout the entire home building journey. Your dream home made simple with Joiner Homes. JoinerHomes.com.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
Hammer and Nigel here. It's a new year. Time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Lacking energy, muscle mass, or have low libido? Could be low T. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Nobody matches the experts at Low T Center. And don't settle for a standard dosage TRT plan.
For current patients, Low T Center offers $150 referral credits when you refer a new patient. LowTCenter.com to book that appointment right now. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So let's talk about what's going on in the General Assembly. Forgive me for lecturing you a little bit about your involvement, but it makes a big difference, man. I've seen it. I've seen how you can. I have seen how you can change the dynamic in a room when people show up, and I've seen how legislators do listen. There was a discussion going on the YouTube chat. If you want to join the discussion through the YouTube chat or watch the show, which isn't much to see, but you can go to YouTube, search for 93 WIBC, and you can click on Gun Guy Show, and there I am. And but there's a chat feature, and people make their comments on there, and folks, listen, it's understandable. People will say, I don't think they're going to listen to me. Why should I make the effort? Man, they do. And I just made a comment on there in response to somebody, and I get why people would be cynical about that. Believe me, I completely understand. It's not unreasonable to believe that. But you're wrong, because it's a lot about volume. And when people call legislators, they call committee chair, and they voice their opinion. And listen, is that legislator going to read, every email or hear every phone message or field that call themselves? Of course not. But I've had legislators that I've talked to, and they've said, "Man, dude, call off the dogs. We had 400 calls today, and 600 emails from people, wanting this thing to pass. I mean, it's wearing my staff out." Well, then maybe you ought to consider passing it. Or, Mr. Chair, or Madam Chair, maybe you ought to give it a hearing. And it makes a difference, because to some degree they've got their finger in the air, reading the direction of the wind, and they're trying to decide, what the grassroots reaction to a particular issue is. And listen, most people that run for public office that want to get elected in the first place want to get reelected. That's just how it works. And listen, there are people in fighting the good fight. And listen, there's a lot of cynicism out there, a lot of criticism of people that are in the legislature at every different level, including Indiana General Assembly. You hear an awful lot of that right here on WIBC. Are there good people who are fighting for issues they believe in? Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't think that, you don't actually participate in the process. You don't go out and work with these people. You don't go to the meetings. You don't participate in the 6 a.m., conference calls or WebEx calls, or whatever it might be. There are people that believe in what they're doing, and they want to make a difference. And I'll guarantee you, on the Second Amendment issue, there are people that absolutely believe for and fight for your Second Amendment rights in the Indiana General Assembly, and to some degree do so to their own political peril. I've seen districts that are changing politically. I'll give you a great example. And listen, is this guy a friend of mine? Yes. But that doesn't change a bit about what I'm about to say. Jerry Torr, who just retired after, I believe it was 26 years in the Indiana General Assembly as a state representative, representing great big parts of Carmel. The demographics and the voting population in Carmel started changing dramatically. And Jerry saw that. And he saw that his fight for Second Amendment rights was going to cost him votes to some degree, because Carmel was becoming more and more and more and more liberal. And he suffered through absolute smear campaigns where he had liberal opponents coming out saying, he voted for a bill to let kids have guns or some ridiculous thing. I mean, they would just spin any pro-2-way vote that Jerry made in a way to try to make it completely outlandish and ridiculous, and to be a basis of attack on him. He saw that, and he didn't waver a bit. You know why? Because Jerry absolutely believes in Second Amendment rights, and he was willing to stand on principle, even to the point of losing some votes. And listen, he could have just gone down the middle of the fairway and not taken a hard stand on two-way issues, and not incurred any wrath from either side, but he stood on principle. And there are a lot of people like that. A lot of people have taken slings and arrows because of how they feel. A lot of people have cost themselves votes because they believe in what they're doing. And there's so much criticism of people in our legislature. And look, are there people out there that are, that are controlled by their donors? I'm sure there are. Are there people out there who don't really care about the voters so much as they care about being reelected? I'm sure there are. Are there some people out there that call themselves Republicans that are not conservatives, and in particular on issues I care about, at least as it relates to this show, don't really care about our Second Amendment rights? You bet. We've been stabbed in the back by those people. And Liz Brown from Fort Wayne, and Senator Bohatchik from up in Northwest Indiana, Susan Glick from right here in Indianapolis. And we've had some Republicans absolutely stab us in the back on Second Amendment issues, no question. And they campaign on the Second Amendment, and then they stick it, a knife in our ribs every opportunity they have. So there are people out there to legitimately criticize, but when you hear these broad spectrum, they're all corrupt and none of them care about you, and they, your legislator hates you, and all that crap that you hear, a lot of it right here on this station. You got to understand that it takes a little work, it takes a little effort to actually get involved, to talk to legislators, to go down and be involved in the process, find out who's on your side, find out who's willing to stand on principle. Find out who truly believes in the causes that they represent, and who truly believes in the welfare of their voters and their constituents. Because those people exist too. I know, I work with them. And I call a lot of those people my friends. And I'm proud to call them my friends because they've earned it. And you hear a lot of them come right here on this show, and they will continue to do so as long as they let me have this show. But it's like any other population of people, whether it's lawyers or police officers, politicians generally, you name any collection of people. Can you really just cast broad aspersions and say, cast a generalization across the entire population of people and say, all these people blank, whatever it is. You know what that is? That's ignorance, and it's laziness. Because you're not taking the effort, you're not taking the time to get off your butt and go learn who's on your side and who's not. And when it comes to the Indiana General Assembly, you know what? I've spent a lot of time doing exactly that. And on that point, we've got some folks who have introduced bills this year that are going to promote and advance our Second Amendment rights. We're a little past the 3/4 hour. We'll come back. We'll get into specifics, talk about individual bills and what you can do to help. And we have a hearing coming up this Wednesday, on a bill that I wrote and I'm passionate about. I'll talk about that when we come back, as well as take your calls. You want to join the discussion, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hear the news.
President Biden letting more people out of prison.
Convicted of non-violent drug offenses.
Another update is just minutes away.
Mike Braun is proposing cutting state spending by about $700 million.
What can you extract year after year?
Increased funding for public schools.
Your community.
DPW's outdated 6-inch rule.
You could have easily changed the policy for connector streets.
Another update is just minutes away. 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Coming up here just a week from today, Saturday, January 25th, we've got Essentials of Indiana Gun Law at Indy Arms Company on the northeast side of Indianapolis. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. We'd love to see you there. You can sign up right online at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. And here's the Comer & Cross difference. We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you'll love your new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor, guaranteed. Call us right now for your quick and easy quote and details on $1,000 off during our winter sale. Even our number's easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Indy always shows up and shows out for the biggest game.
Van Turner delivers.
It's a big game and a special night when the Pacers and 76ers tip off on Saturday.
Here comes Indiana again, and Siakam throws it down.
Catch the Pacers and 76ers Saturday for Lucas Oil Family Night. Family Night tickets start at just $25 and include a Pacers hat, hot dog, chips, and a small Pepsi product. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/family. Pacers 76ers, Saturday at 7.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us. Talking about this ongoing, the current legislative session in the Indiana General Assembly. And there's a bill that is important to me because I've seen the effects of not having this law yet on real people, including real clients of mine. And listen, I don't know, where these things are tracked, and I'm sure they're not tracked generally, but if I had to guess, I'm rather confident that I've represented more clients in red flag cases than any other lawyer in the state. And I'm the only lawyer that I know of, and I've researched this regularly, so I'm up to date. I'm the only lawyer that's taken our red flag case up to the Court of Appeals, including arguing that it was unconstitutional. I also won a case in the Indiana Court of Appeals where a trial judge down in Monroe County found my client was dangerous, and we had that reversed in the Court of Appeals, where the Court of Appeals said that that judge's ruling in Madison County was clearly erroneous, which is a damn high hurdle to get over. But that's what we proved in the Indiana Court of Appeals, and we had my client's guns returned to him. And I've written amendments to the red flag law over the years that have been passed that have dramatically improved. I've injected much more due process into that law than what we've had before. And listen, let's talk about due process and red flag. A lot of people go out and they say red flag laws are all unconstitutional and all ought to be taken off the books because they don't provide due process. Well, here's why the courts have disagreed with us on that point. And you can agree with this, you can disagree with it. But there is due process, and to the extent that people say, wait a minute, my gun can be seized from me by a police officer when I've not had a hearing or representation. That's absolutely right. And just like a police officer can arrest you A police officer sees you throw a brick through a jewelry store window. Can that officer arrest you? Yes. Can they take you to jail? Yes. And can they do that before you've had any due process in terms of appearing before a judge to plead your case, or before you have a lawyer to represent you? They just saw you throw a brick through a jewelry store window. They put you in handcuffs and they take you to jail, and they keep you in jail until you can get in front of a judge for an initial hearing. You've had no hearing. You've had no due process. Can that happen under our current system? Yes. Why? Because you get due process in the sense that a judge has to review your arrest for probable cause to determine if there was probable cause for your arrest. And then they will advise you that you have a right to counsel. And if you hire your own, that's great. If you can't hire your own, they appoint one for you. That's due process. Then they have to have a hearing, and you have to, and then you get all the other parts of due process, which is the ability to obtain documents and compel witnesses to testify for you, and to get the evidence that the state has against you, and to confront the witnesses against you. That's what due process is. But people say, well, they can take my guns with no due process. Yes, just like they can arrest you with no due process, based on a review after the fact of probable cause by a judge, in one case for whether there was probable cause for your arrest, in another case whether there was probable cause to believe you're dangerous. In one, you're sitting in jail. That's a criminal case. In a red flag case, your guns have just been seized from you. I say just. That's not to minimize that. Hell, I've got the Second Amendment tattooed on my arm. It's not a minor thing for me to get my gun seized from me. That's not my point. I'm saying you're not in jail, but your guns have been seized from you. That a judge then is required within 48 hours to review whether there was probable cause for that seizure. So to say there's no due process, that's not quite true, even though that's a common theme on the internet. We come back, I'll talk more about that, how we've improved the red flag statute and the bill that's pending that you can get involved in, all when we come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. And here's the Comer & Cross difference. We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you'll love your new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor, guaranteed. Call us right now for your quick and easy quote and details on $1,000 off during our winter sale. Even our number's easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Recent talk about rising interest rates and economic uncertainty may have you wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will I get the price I need? Will it take too long? The good news, you don't have to figure this out by yourself. There is a friendly, no-pressure, experienced agent who eats and sleeps Indianapolis real estate. Call my agent, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want a guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel's the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Crystal in Franklin said, I was moving to Kentucky and needed to move fast. I got the Mark Dietel marketing plan and was blown away. The plan worked. I got a full list price offer in the first weekend. Just like that, Mark and his team got it done. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News. 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Trump's inauguration on Monday is being moved indoors due to some severe winter weather. Here's Fox's Madeline Rivera. The decision to move the inauguration indoors set up a last-minute scramble from Capitol Hill employees working on the setup in the rotunda to Trump supporters who are wondering what to do now that they won't be able to see the events in person. So there is a sense of disappointment among many of them, several of whom had booked flights and hotels. But President-elect Trump says in this Truth Social post he did not want to see anyone get hurt. It is said to be the coldest inauguration since former President Ronald Reagan's second inauguration in 1985. That swearing-in was also moved indoors. The Capitol Police say only ticketed guests and members of Congress will be able to attend the ceremonies at the rotunda. And the brutal cold and ferocious winds are expected for the D.C. area on Monday, with temperatures expected to fall to the upper 20s. Meanwhile, thousands of people gathering in Washington, D.C. today protesting President-elect Trump's inauguration, calling it the People's March. Activists for women's rights, racial justice, and other causes rallied against incoming policies they say will threaten their constitutional rights.
It's a nice reminder that even though we didn't have the numbers in November, that we're not alone, and we shouldn't give up and just kind of roll on our backs. And, in 2 years, we can make some more change.
Marches also being held in other cities like Boston, San Francisco, and New York. The president-elect is planning on holding a rally Sunday at Capital One Arena in Washington. That event is expected to be packed with supporters. And South Korea's impeached president, Yoon Suk-yeol, was formally arrested today. America's listening to Fox News.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
It is time to take the quiz.
5 days a week, it's 5 questions in less than 5 minutes. We ask people on the streets of New York City to play along. Let's see how you do.
Including the pre-Super Bowl era, what NFL franchise has won the most NFL championships?
I'm going to say the Cowboys.
I guess I would say the Packers.
How'd you do exactly? These get tougher, so hang on.
Take the quiz every weekday at thequiz.fox. Thank you for taking the quiz.
The Israel-Hamas ceasefire and hostage release deal will go into effect at 1:30 a.m. Eastern.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Expecting more frigid temperatures. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending this hour. The start of your work week is expected to be extremely cold in central Indiana.
Temperatures really are probably not going to warm up out of the single digits. They may get to around 10 or 12 above, but it's going to be pretty cold on Monday. And then we're going to be cold again on Tuesday. It's going to take until we get to about Wednesday before we start to warm up a little bit. Wind chills could be as low as 25 below at times.
Meteorologist Randy Bowers with the National Weather Service Indianapolis encourages you to prepare for the cold and wear layers in order to stay safe. You've been hearing about confirmation hearings for nominees of President-elect Trump's cabinet. John Herrick reports on a confirmation story from a former Indiana governor.
Mitch Daniels was not only a governor of Indiana at one point, he was also picked by George Bush to be the director of the Office of Management and Budget. At his confirmation hearing, he remembers being questioned by Democratic Senator Joe Lieberman.
Senator Lieberman says, "Excuse me just a minute, Mr. Daniels," said, "There's a little red-haired lady sitting behind you, and when we
say something nice, she gets the most beautiful smile on her face.
In an interview with WIBC's Rob Kendall, Daniels said that woman was his mom, and she would scowl at Lieberman if he started to grill her son with tougher questions. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
You'll hear more from Daniels in our inauguration coverage from 9 a.m. to noon Monday. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Temperatures will be falling. Tonight, cloudy skies, low temperatures in the teens, and for tomorrow, spotty to scattered flurries, high temperatures in the lower 20s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars Thursday, January 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m., stop smoking seminar at 8. Or Saturday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a Colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Don't miss out on Hammer and Nigel Tequila by Hiatus. Pick up your unique bottle at any Ale Emporium location near you.
Must be 21 or older to purchase. Slow down. Enjoy your Hiatus.
Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. So we're talking about the current legislative session, and I'm going to talk about here in much more detail a bill that I've written, and it's been now authored and offered in the General Assembly by Representative Ben Smaltz, the primary author of our constitutional carry bill we got passed in 2022. Also authored church carry, which is huge, that allows all of us to lawfully carry a firearm while we attend a worship service or a religious ceremony in our house of worship, our church, or synagogue, or mosque, or temple, or whatever it might be, even if there's a school on the same property. Because for generations in Indiana, it was illegal to carry a gun in a church if there was a school or a licensed daycare on the same property or in the same building, because it made the whole property school property, and it's illegal to carry a gun on school property. So Ben's a huge hero when it comes to Second Amendment. He's right up there with Jim Lucas and Jerry Torr and Aaron Freeman and Peggy Mayfield and several others. And he and I work together, and we have Ben has filed a bill that I wrote, and it would allow the expungement of a red flag case off of someone's record once they're determined to be not dangerous. And let's piece that out a little bit. Let's peel the layers off that onion. What are we talking about? The way the red flag statute works. And by the way, there is also a bill, a lot of people are out there. Every time I mention the red flag case on social media, people, jump on me and they say the red flag law ought to be completely repealed. And listen, there's a bill filed this session, HB, that is House Bill 1653, assigned to the Courts and Criminal Code Committee. And it would repeal the red flag statute. And listen, I completely understand why people would fight for that. Are there problems with our red flag statute? Oh, God, yes. That's what led me to take a case to the Court of Appeals to argue it was completely unconstitutional. Have I seen our red flag law abused? Absolutely. Have I seen people that are not even remotely dangerous substantially less dangerous than you and me have their guns seized because the statute is abused and used as a weapon, no pun intended, against people for vindictive purposes, whether it's an angry, jealous ex-spouse or soon-to-be ex-spouse. I've seen it happen among coworkers. I've seen it happen where neighbors are mad at each other. It's subject to awful abuse. That's why I wrote a bill, and Jim Lucas introduced it, and we got it passed a number of years ago to make false reporting that someone's dangerous under the red flag law, to make that a crime. Put somebody in jail if they vindictively abuse the red flag law. And there are judges and prosecutors across the state, and I hate to say this, but either who don't understand the law, who don't apply it as written, and just seem to operate under a mentality that, well, I'm going to err on the side of always taking guns away from somebody if I have any concerns whatsoever about whether they're going to be safe with that firearm, and it's not the way the statute's written. And listen, we've improved it dramatically. Is it abused? Yes. Is it still flawed? You bet. We've worked hard to make it better. The statute of who's dangerous that could have your gun seized from you used to include whether you may become a danger in the future. I kid you not. That's how it was written in 2005. Now, it didn't stop there. There were other conditions, but it started with if you may become a danger in the future. It was literally may become a risk of personal injury to the person or a third person in the future. May, in the future. That applies to every single person on the planet. And in 2019, I worked with then my legislator, Donna Shibley, and we fixed that crap. That was ridiculous. And we did a lot of other good things. We injected much more due process into the bill, and we dramatically improved it in 2019. But a problem that still occurs and recurs is that the way the statute works is your firearms can be seized from you by a police officer without a warrant. And if they do that, they have to submit an affidavit within 48 hours to a court about why your guns were seized based on the belief that you're dangerous. A judge then reviews that for probable cause. There's your first due process. And a judge determines whether, based on that police officer's report, there was probable cause to believe you're dangerous. Then the judge is supposed to schedule a hearing for you within 14 days. And at that hearing, the judge determines whether the state has proven by clear and convincing evidence that you're dangerous, as defined in the statute. Now, is that a perfect process? No. And I've talked about this here before. One huge problem, and we still hope to get an amendment. We couldn't get an independent bill on this, but we still hope to fix this, which is there's no right to counsel. It's a civil proceeding. It's not a criminal proceeding. A lot of people don't understand that because you lose a constitutional freedom. You can lose your Second Amendment rights permanently unless you can go back and prove later on that you're no longer dangerous. If you're found to be dangerous, you've lost your Second Amendment rights. But there's no right to counsel. It's something I've written on and I've talked about, and we still hope to get that into a bill yet this session. And it's a huge problem. But secondly, if you are found to be dangerous, then that all of that is found on any searchable database. For instance, the big one is My Case Indiana. Just Google My Case Indiana. My Case, one word. And you can search criminal histories, or not just criminal histories. It's got civil cases on there right now. You search for me, you've got when my homeowners association has sued me more than once because I have an ongoing problem with my homeowners association because I don't take the little Nazis crap for stuff, and we tend to fight stuff out in court. And you can find whether it's small claims case and civil litigation, divorces, all that's right out there on My Case. And anybody doing a background check on you, because you also, by the way, find criminal cases on there. But if somebody that is the state files a red flag case against you, it's going to be right there on a publicly accessible database. Anybody, whether it's an employer doing a background search, anybody else, just member of the public who happens to be curious. They do a search, and they're going to find the fact that there's been a red flag case entered against you. If you've been found to be dangerous, that's going to be right there on my case. But get this. If you're found to not be dangerous, you win your case. The state fails to prove by what's called clear and convincing evidence, because that's the standard in the statute, that you're dangerous. The current statute says, okay, then the judge, upon finding that the state has failed to prove that you're dangerous, by clear and convincing evidence, they shall order that the police return your firearms to you, that it be reported to NICS that you're not dangerous. By the way, if you previously were found to be dangerous, you can go back either in 6 months or a year. The process is a little different depending on how long you wait, and ask for a new hearing to prove you're no longer dangerous. And if you prove either initially you were never dangerous to begin with, or later on prove you're no longer dangerous, the statute says the judge shall issue an order, return the firearms. Notify NICS, the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, that you're not dangerous, and tell the state police that your license to carry a handgun is unaffected or should be restored if you were previously found to be dangerous. But get this, even though we have an expungement statute in Indiana that for almost all misdemeanors and a lot of felonies, even if you're found guilty, you keep a clean criminal history for a certain amount of time, you can go back and you can expunge that off your record. It's something I do a lot of for clients at the law office. I love doing it. I've expunged 30-year-old felonies off of people's records, because what does that do? That restores your gun rights. It also seals the record, depending on the level of crime. For low-level felonies and all misdemeanors, it seals the record. So somebody doing a background check is not going to see it. The judicial system, police and the courts can see them, but somebody doing a background check for a job, for instance, is not going to see it. Well, guess what? A civil proceeding, like a red flag case, cannot be expunged under current law. So let's say my neighbor lies, flat out lies, and says, oh, guy's crazy, he's a gun nut, by the way, those two right there may not necessarily be lies, but goes the next step and said, oh, he was mad at me over where I put my trash cans. That's a real case, by the way, that I had. But guy's nuts, he was mad at me over where I left my trash cans. And so he pulled his shotgun out of the back seat, pointed at me, and said he was going to kill me. The guy's nuts. That guy's clearly crazy. He's dangerous. He was waving his gun around, said he was going to blow my head off. And again, this didn't involve me. It involved a client who hired me. That's actually the actual facts of a case that I had, a red flag case. But then let's just say that, I have a Ring doorbell, and I'm able to pull up the video to my Ring doorbell that shows on the date in question that, yes, I had an argument with my neighbor over where he put his trash cans, but there was no shotgun involved. There was no pointing or screaming or threats, and it's all recorded. You can hear the audio, and all you hear is, dude, don't be a jerk. Don't leave your trash can in my driveway. That's the whole thing. Everything else about pointing the shotgun and threatening and being crazy was completely fabricated. And the judge, upon seeing the Ring doorbell after we have the hearing, says, man, this was all a false report. I can even turn the guy in for false reporting under the bill that I wrote and Jim Lucas introduced. Now that's a crime. It's called false reporting. He can potentially go to jail. But do you know that upon finding that I'm not dangerous, that red flag case just sits there on my criminal history. It's not criminal history because it shows civil cases too. That's the point. It'll just sit there. And somebody doing a background check on me, well, let's say a future employer. I'm getting kind of old to be doing new job applications, but let's just say an employer does back and say, well, gosh, I see this red flag case guy was filed back in 2018 that contends that you were dangerous and there had to be a hearing and your guns were seized from you. And that all makes me pretty nervous. I don't think I want you working for me, or I don't think I want you as a volunteer Little League football coach at Carmel Dad's Club, or whatever it might be. Because this case is hanging out there. Even though I won, I can't expunge that off my record because it's a civil case. And believe me, I've seen this happen where people come to me. One lady was a client of mine. She drove a school bus. And even after we proved she was not dangerous and we got her guns returned to her, they still wouldn't let her drive a school bus because they said, well, we have concerns because there was this whole dangerous, red flag proceeding that was brought against you, and we don't think people would be comfortable. And it's sitting right there on your record. Yeah, but we won. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't think that's something we're comfortable with. And I've seen relationships ruined, jobs lost, volunteer opportunities lost, because it's a civil case and you can't expunge it off your record. So that's what a bill that I wrote addresses this session. It's House Bill 1137, and Ben Smaltz offered it, co-authored, by the way, by Jim Lucas and Jake Teshka, two other incredibly strong proponents of the Second Amendment. And that is set for a hearing this Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. in the Courts and Criminal Code Committee. You want to show up, you want to voice support, you just be there. Just be in the room. If you remember the 2A Project, man, wear your T-shirt. yeah, it's going to be cold. After we get in the room, you can take your jacket off, show your 2A Project T-shirt, wear your hat, be in the room, 10:30 a.m. in room 156A. That's the basement of the State House. We're going to have a hearing. And this is how the whole process works. Once you file a bill, more than half the bills, and I don't know, I've never put percentages to it. If I had to speculate or guess, I'd say probably 60-70% of bills die because they never get a hearing in the committee that they're assigned to after they're filed. And that weeds out a bunch of bills. And that's been good and bad as a 2A advocate. I've seen a lot of bad bills against us die in committee. That's it. They're done. They don't ever get a hearing. They don't go forward. It gets a hearing. It has to pass by a vote of the committee to recommend that be passed. It goes on. It goes to the floor of that chamber, wherever it was filed, in this case, the House. They consider amendments in second reading is what that's called. Then it gets amended or it doesn't, goes back for a third reading, votes, passes that chamber, goes over to the other chamber. In this case, it'll go over to the Senate if it passes the House, and it starts all over. Gets assigned to a committee. That committee chair has to decide to hear it, has to pass that committee, goes through the amendment process in second reading, and then gets passed on third reading. Boom, now it goes to the governor's desk, unless it's been amended in some way that makes it different from what the other chamber passed. Then it goes back for what's called conference committee. They fight out those differences, and hopefully then that passes out of then, assuming it's a bill you support, passes out of that process, goes to the governor's desk. So here we're past the first step, which is this bill, which would allow expungement of red flag proceedings off of someone's record. It's hugely important. I'm telling you, this has ruined people's lives after they've been found to be not dangerous. And by the way, it doesn't affect those people that are found to be dangerous. Because by the way, it's a crime to transfer a gun to someone who's been found to be dangerous. So I'm sure the argument you try to expunge that, when people say, well, wait a minute, how am I supposed to know this even happened if that's not on someone's record? So it doesn't affect anyone unless they've been found to be not dangerous or no longer dangerous under the red flag statute. Then we can get it off their record. Then we can allow people to go on with their lives, not lose jobs, not lose volunteer opportunities or relationships. Again, I've seen all those negative repercussions. So that's going to be Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. in room 156A in the basement, first floor, technically called, of the State House. Love for you to be there. Love for you to call your representative if they're on that committee. It's the Courts and Criminal Code Committee, and say, man, and even if they're not on the committee, you can go to the state police website. People always ask me, man, I don't know when things are set for hearing, or I don't know what bills are pending. It all starts with just finding the website. If you put into your browser IGA, that stands for Indiana General Assembly, IGA/IN for Indiana.gov, IGA/IN.gov. Boom, that's the Indiana General Assembly website. And right there, you can search for bills. You can search by subject matter. You can search by legislator. There's a whole feature on there saying, find my legislator. You don't know who your legislator is, or you don't know how to get a hold of them. There's a whole function on there under information, find my legislator, and it'll give you a direct link to send them an email. It's easy as hell. All you got to do is go to iga/in.gov, and that gives you all the information you need. And it's at your fingertips. It make it easy. And I'd love for you to, if you can't be there, to send an email or give a call, because the phone numbers are on there once you find your legislator, and say, man, pass this thing out of committee and vote for it once it reaches the floor, because it's a big deal. And people that have red flag proceedings brought against them maliciously and without any probable cause, and when their cases are still being dramatically affected, that's something we need to fix. So hope you support that. Hope you see you there Wednesday. I'll be there. I'm going to testify in support of the bill, and we want to see it continue down the road. I'm well past the quarter hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Up court pass to Galloway. He feeds it to Carlisle. Takes it inside. Scoops it up and in and a foul. Goody for a three-try. Got it. Straight down the floor. Finds Carlisle. Puts it up. Scores and a foul. Galloway breaks down the floor. 3-on-2. Luke Goody three. Good. Bolo got the rebound. Out to Goody for three. Yes! Block shot by Leo. Scramble for it. Ford puts up a jumper and misses. And Indiana wins.
Your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our most popular class is our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class, and our next one is coming up on January 25th, just a week from today. It's going to be at Indy Arms on the northeast side, 2550 East 55th Street. We'd love to see you there, 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m., $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. There's only a few seats left, but we can still fit you in if you register probably in the next 48 hours. We'd love to see you there. Again, 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. Check that out at tactical-firearms.com. You can click on upcoming courses and register right online at tactical-firearms.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. And here's the Comer & Cross difference. We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you'll love your new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor, guaranteed. Call us right now for your quick and easy quote and details on $1,000 off during our winter sale. Even our number's easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Whoa, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
Indiana is in crisis. Our blood supply is critically low and patients' lives are on the line. Trauma victims, cancer patients, and newborns are waiting on you. Your blood ensures people in our community can receive the life-saving care they need. Hope is the heartbeat of our community. And right now, that hope relies on you. Schedule your life-saving donation today at Versity.org. Hope, it's in our blood.
Over the last few years, things have gotten weird.
And for our kids, these things can be overwhelmingly stressful.
Scientific research
and real-life experience
tell us that the #1 antidote to stress is authentic, trusted relationships.
So that's why I
am committed to building and maintaining a trusted space.
This is a trusted space.
Access free films and resources to build trusted spaces in your schools and communities at atrustedSpace.org.
Did you get a heating and air conditioning quote that you're just not sure of? Give us a call for a free second opinion.
317-577-8077 for Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at GotYour6.org.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. There are a whole bunch of additional bills. You know, I mentioned the amendment to the red flag statute to allow a case to be expunged off your record once you're found to not be dangerous. I think that's critical. That's the change we need to get done this year. I've seen, as I mentioned, it negatively affect too many people's lives even after they win their case. But, man, it's a long list of additional bills that relate to your Second Amendment rights. And, as always, every single year, some good, some bad. For instance, there's a ban, Senate Bill 153, on so-called privately made firearms. You know, federal law and Indiana law for generations has allowed you to build your own firearm. And ATF currently says that's totally legal. Now there are been proposed ATF regulations, and a lot of that's been caught up in litigation, and it's not gone well for the ATF. But, you know, Democrats here in Indiana are trying to deprive you of the ability to manufacture your own firearm. You know, you always, you know, kind of chuckle a little bit at. There's a bill, Senate Bill 204, that would allow lobbyists to carry a handgun in the State House if they meet certain training, licensing, and eligibility requirements. And listen, reason I chuckle at that one a little bit is obviously there's a lobbyist out there somewhere who values his or her Second Amendment rights, or maybe a group of lobbyists, and they've gotten together and they've convinced a legislator to introduce that bill. But it is a constant source of irritation, not just to me, but to a lot of people, that currently, in the way the law works now, is legislators can carry in the State House. Judges, I'm totally okay with this. I go in and have an argument in front of the Indiana Court of Appeals. I love the idea there are a bunch of judges sitting up there with a handgun they're carrying under their robes. That makes me practically giddy. Think about that. And certain staff members now, just in the last couple of years, are allowed to carry, and I get that. You know, they're there. Oftentimes they're there late. They're downtown Indy. They got to walk to their car afterward. Hey, God bless them. But now there's a bill to say lobbyists should be allowed to carry. And at some point, you know, you have to ask the question, isn't this called the People's House? It's the State House. And why should a legislator or a judge or a lobbyist be allowed to carry a firearm in the State House when I can't? And I'm not okay with that. And listen, I get this in response. Like, I just had an interaction today on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling that these days, where I was talking about Senate Bill 1137 and how I was urging people to show up and support that. And we're talking about expungement. And the guy said, well, I'm not going to show up and support that because I can't carry in the State House. And, okay, you want to stand on principle. I get that. I'm not going to argue too hard with anybody who wants to stand on principle on any given point. And would I like to see that fixed? Yes. And has that been fixed in certain other states? Yes. But that's just when I kind of chuckle because that's kind of a, I want mine kind of a bill, being proposed by certain lobbyists, I'm sure. There's as there always is, pretty much every session, there's a so-called universal background check bill, Senate Bill 247, that says you can't transfer a firearm even between private individuals unless you go through an FFL, a federal firearms licensee, like a gun shop, and have background checks done on everybody. And listen, we see universal background check bills introduced pretty much every year for the last several years. And what these people who introduce these bills don't seem to understand is that universal background checks are completely and absolutely unenforceable without universal registration. In other words, how do you prosecute somebody for transferring a gun with or without a background check unless you know who owns every firearm in America? You have to have registration. Make guns like cars where they're all registered to somebody. And only then can you determine who may have transferred a firearm in violation of the law without a background check. And so universal background check, and by the way, is the local criminal on the corner. The gang member or the drug dealer who's inclined to trade a 8-ball of cocaine for a new Glock 19. And he's already a convicted felon. He's already a drug dealer. He's going to trade an illegal drug. He's going to say all of a sudden, hold on, I can't transfer this gun because there's a new law out there that says I can't transfer this gun without a background check. Holy smokes. No, I'm not going to care. And even as to more law-abiding citizens, how do you enforce a law that somebody transferred a gun without a background check when you don't know who owns every who owns every gun in America? It's literally unenforceable. Makes no damn sense. And a lot of us believe that anybody who's pushing for universal background checks are actually, in secret, pushing for universal registration. And would I ever support universal registration? Oh, hell no. Every time we've seen universal registration or even limited registration, it's always the first step toward confiscation. And people call you paranoid when you say that. Oh no. Look what's happened in states like Maryland or Connecticut, where they said, well, we're going to ban so-called assault weapons, but we're going to grandfather them under certain conditions, but you have to register them. And this happened in California as well. And then afterwards said, we're not so sure about this whole grandfather thing, and people got letters. So you need to dispose of your firearm or turn it into law enforcement. And we know who you are because you registered it. People that tried to register and registered late got letters going, well, thanks for telling us you have the firearm. You didn't register it in time. Now you unlawfully possess that fire. You don't have to be paranoid in any way to believe that registration is a simple plot toward confiscation. No way, no how. As we see every year, there's a firearm storage bill. And listen, if I have somebody under 18 in my house, should I be convicted of a crime because I don't have a gun locked up? No. No and no. And that's why I'll always oppose those bills. And there's a whole heck of a lot more. I'll tell you what, we're past the bottom of the hour. Let's take a break. We come back, and you know what? I've had at least one gentleman on hold for quite a while. I will go to the phone lines, including anybody else who calls in here during this break, 317-239-9393. Give us a call. Join the discussion, 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Up court pass to Galloway. He feeds it to Carlisle. Takes it inside. Scoops it up and in and a foul. Goody for a three-try. Got it. Straight down the floor. Finds Carlisle. Puts it up. Scores and a foul. Galloway breaks down the floor. 3-on-2. Luke Goody three. Good. Bolo got the rebound. Out to Goody for three. Yes! Block shot by Leo. Scramble for it. Ford puts up a jumper and misses. And Indiana wins.
Your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
Recent talk about rising interest rates and economic uncertainty may have you wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will I get the price I need? Will it take too long? The good news, you don't have to figure this out by yourself. There is a friendly, no-pressure, experienced agent who eats and sleeps Indianapolis real estate. Call my agent, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want a guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel's the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Greg in Franklin said this: my tenant moved out of my investment property and I was ready to sell. I heard about Mark on the radio and everything they say is true. In 15 days on the market, I had a cash offer I wanted on the property. Selling with Mark Dietel was fast, easy, and profitable. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air. Nobody cares for you like family. Your American Standard Air dealer.
Fox News, I'm Daria Aldinger. Chicago is expected to be the first place Immigration and Customs Enforcement conduct mass deportations of criminal undocumented migrants. Border czar Tom Homan says it could happen in a number of cities, not just Chicago, in the first days of next week. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker indicating that he will not comply. A warning as an Israeli ceasefire is expected to take effect early tomorrow.
We cannot allow these people to strengthen even during a time of ceasefire, because they're only going to wait for President Trump to leave before they attack again.
That's Texas Republican Congressman Wesley Hunt speaking to Fox News. Democrats say the Biden administration helped to broker the deal. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. And here's the Comer & Cross difference. We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you'll love your new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor, guaranteed. Call us right now for your quick and easy quote and details on $1,000 off during our winter sale. Even our number's easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Smokey the Bear. Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do. This is what you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIPC.
And welcome back. I'll tell you, we're a little behind the schedule. We're going to have a little bit of short segments here, but we're going to have a lot more. Well, we will have a lot more opportunities to talk about what's going on in the legislature. If I have time, I really want to talk about another bill, House Bill 1074, that will again protect against discrimination by financial institutions, that is banks and credit card companies. We've already taken big steps in this area, and we did so just last year. But this bill, authored by Craig Haggard, another big 2A hero, former Marine fighter pilot, all-around badass, good friend of mine. That's House Bill 1074. We'll talk more about that as well. But in the meantime, I'll tell you what, let's go to the phone lines. Brett's been on hold forever. Brett, thanks for your patience. Welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Yes, can you hear me?
You betcha.
All right. I got two things to say. One, there's an outfit called the USCCA, which I think stands for
U.S. Concealed Carry Association.
Carry Association. They claim to have a meeting at the Brownsburg Library, January the 28th, from 5:30 to 7:30, and they're all over the net and then various phone apps with, I guess you'd call it advertisements or whatever.
Yeah.
Are they a scam or what?
Oh, well, no. I've had USCCA insurance since 2012. I've been a member since then. I have their carry insurance, meaning if I use my firearm and I get sued or prosecuted after a self-defense scenario, they'll pay for my attorney's fees, pay potentially any liability if I'm sued. And they're a great organization. And in fact, full disclosure, they haven't for years, but years ago they used to pay me a little bit of money to give their self-defense legal seminars that I gave maybe 4 or 5 of on the north side there for a little while. I haven't done that in several years, but no, I pay them money every month, and I have their insurance, and they're totally a totally solid organization. Let's go back to the phone lines, and we've got my buddy Kelly. Kelly in Avon has called. Co-Director of Legislative Affairs for the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association. Kelly, thanks for calling, buddy.
Oh, thanks for taking my call, Guy.
Sure.
Good news is Wednesday morning it should be above zero when we're walking into the State House.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to park in the WIBC garage, so I got a short walk. So it's about 3 blocks, so I should be okay.
Well, that's still pretty brisk out there. When It's going to be about 2. But yeah, definitely 11:37, which I'm looking at the website. Hopefully they go in the order, and because there's 7 bills scheduled, and the ones in front of 11:37 don't look like they'll take up a whole lot of time, like we've sat through a few times.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, there's several pretty good bills out there. I know you mentioned 1074. Looking for that in financial institutions. I know Charlie Hiltunen last year when the bill that passed that dealt with you can't create a registry by using credit card transactions.
Yeah,
basically
exactly
what it was. Yeah, he said that was a shot across the bow. I think, this one's more of a broadside.
Yeah, I agree with you. And by the way, Jake Teshka, who's a big friend of the Second Amendment, in fact, he's a co-author of 1137, the expungement bill for red flag cases, he chairs financial institutions now. And so I'm cautiously optimistic that 1074 on protecting Second Amendment businesses and individuals against discrimination by the banking industry or financial institutions, I'm guessing that's going to get a hearing sooner than later. So I'm pretty optimistic about that one.
Yeah, that'll be good to see. And a couple more. I know Jim Lucas has a couple more bills.
Elimination of gun-free zones. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, now that's not all of them, but the ones it goes after, it looks similar to at the federal level, executive agencies kind of making the rules up. I know DNR requires you to have a handgun license to go in a state park armed, but we've had constitutional carry since 2022, so it's one of those. Let's see, the legislative branch writes the laws, executive enforces it. You don't write the laws. So.
There you go. Yep. No, I like it. And Kelly, I agree with you. And listen, we're going to have Kelly on many more times, and we'll be able to give many more updates on what's going on in the legislature. And Kelly, I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but I'm late getting into this break, and I'm going to have a really short segment when we come back to wrap things up. Right now, this is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Up court pass to Galloway. He feeds it to Carlisle. Takes it inside. Scoops it up and in, and a foul. Goody for a 3-try. Got it. Straight down the floor. Finds Carlisle. Puts it up. Scores, and a foul. Galloway breaks down the floor. 3-on-2. Luke Goody 3. Good. Bolo got the rebound. Out to Goody for 3. Yes! Block shot by Leal. Scramble for it. Ford puts up a jumper and misses. And Indiana wins.
Your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. And here's the Comer & Cross difference. We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you'll love your new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor, guaranteed. Call us right now for your quick and easy quote and details on $1,000 off during our winter sale. Even our number's easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No limit and no payments for 3 years. Restrictions apply. Have a price, they'll beat it. Schedule your free in-home estimate today.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Hammer and Nigel here. It's a new year. Time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Lacking energy, muscle mass, or have low libido? Could be low T. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Nobody matches the experts at Low T Center. And don't settle for a standard dosage TRT plan.
For current patients, Low T Center offers $150 referral credits when you refer a new patient. LowTCenter.com to book that appointment right now. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com. second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for what will be a somewhat short segment here to wrap up this week's show. I want to expand a little bit on Brett's call about USCCA, and I was kind of rushed through those calls and had to I hate to cut off Kelly and Avon always because he brings so much important information here as co-director of legislative affairs for ISRPA, the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association. But Brett asked me about USCCA, and listen, I've been a little irritated. And again, I used to have a commercial relationship where they paid me some money to do their self-defense legal seminars, which they haven't done in several years now. So I just pay them money. It's the current relationship because I have their insurance coverage. But it irritates me that I've seen a whole bunch of I think pretty defamatory posts and videos and whatnot out of other people that provide the same kind of insurance, that is carry insurance. So, you know, if you use your gun in self-defense, you get sued or you get prosecuted. And there's some coverage or some protection of you. They to pay your legal bills, provide you an attorney, cover you against liability, whatever it might be. And a lot of people are out there, I've seen these videos, saying, well, USCCA never honors their policy. They'll look for any excuse to deny coverage. And essentially you're wasting your money. And listen, all I can tell you on that score is I know for a fact that's false because I'm defending right now a self-defense case in Marion County where USCCA is paying the bills and they've accepted coverage. And I wouldn't pay them. It's not a lot of money, but you know, I pay them every month for the insurance that I have. I carry a gun. There's some possibility I may use it. And if I use it, you know, I don't want to have to, open a second mortgage if I'm being prosecuted for 2 or 3 or 4 years or sued for millions of dollars because I used my gun in self-defense. And that's why I have that insurance. It's also, by the way, the best magazine for any gun-related organization they put out every year. So, listen, I don't get paid to endorse them, but I get upset when I see, I think, a solid organization getting disparaged out there and wanted to correct that. In the meantime, we're wrapping up this week's show. We really hope to see you Wednesday. Show up and support us on 1137. We need to pass this expungement bill so that these frivolous red flag cases don't destroy people's lives. Right now, that's this week's show. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
One of the joys of working with Radio 1 has been that they actually listen.
How can a partnership with WIBC serve your business?
My name's Jake Stamper. I'm the president and CEO of Sagacity Consulting, a full-service marketing and advertising firm.
Communication.
I choose to work with Radio 1 because I have such respect for their ability to achieve a goal. We have served manufacturers